promotions, right? So promotions comes through skills. And one of the skills is what very important, very critical skill is what we are going to discuss today. This is a Friday evening. I know Friday evening you have so many other options in your life, but all of you have decided to choose us and listen to Nishanth, what he has to talk about on how to build your careers. So we are helping and putting a series of these kind of webinars just to help you that where is that organizations moving towards, and as a beneficiary of all these organizations, the employees, what skills that we must possess so that you can be part of those organizational growth, right? That is a whole idea about this webinar series. And today we are going to talk about cloud. Whether you started your journey in cloud as a professional or you are already a solution architect in cloud, I'm hoping that this webinar will connect to both the sides, right? Because whether you are doing anything today, you could be a system administrator, you could be a AI engineer, or you could be a cybersecurity expert. Most of the organizations today are deploying their workloads on cloud. Now, it is not that we are going to discuss about should we start. No, it is that question is already over, right? We would have started long ago. But now the question is that if I haven't started, then can I start now, and how do I fast track that journey in the next 1 year? What is the right direction to become a cloud professional, not an entry level professional, but a cloud professional who can actually build your careers and promotions around these skills? What are those new age challenges that the cloud professionals are facing, and what are those skills that we must possess? That's what we are going to discuss today. And we are so delighted, so proud that Nishanth has been helping us in our cloud and cybersecurity program from almost our inceptions. That is about 8-9 years ago. But then, due to all his professional requirement, he moved to Bahrain, and today he is a director at cybersecurity and governance at Gulf Air, which is the parent company, manages Bahrain Airport, etc. But I just heard that he is coming to Bangalore, so people would want to meet him. He will be coming to Reva as well, so please do meet. And so that one thing about Nishanth is that he really likes to help people who wants to build projects, and that is his capabilities. That is what he actually excel in. He is a tinkerer, he is a researcher. From almost 8-9 years that I have known him, I have seen him solving large problems, solving difficult problems, and any technology. He earlier, I think he was more of a cybersecurity professional. He moved to governance and risk, large scale implementations. Now he is talking about AI plus cybersecurity plus cloud. That means that is the power of all these mentors. How do they get promoted? Because they stack up their skills, not just one skill. Stack up the skills which are important for adding great value to the organizations, right? So that is what we would hear from now from Nishanth for the next 45 minutes. Please do ask questions. If you are not asking questions, I would feel that you are all muted yourself, and just because we can't see your face. So we are hoping that you will please ask questions. The audio is not allowed, but you can always chat away. And towards the end, we will take those questions. So please ask anything that around these topics that you want to ask. And looking forward to a great learning, insightful session based on the live experience of Nishanth's profile himself, right? So excellent, and hope that everyone will stay glued to the screen. Don't use your mobile and do something else. Just pay very clear attention to what he has to say, and not just here. Immediately you must chalk out your plan. This 50 minutes, I hope, will give you clarity and direction for the next 5 years in your life. That's what we would hope for, each of you who are sitting here. And over to you, Nishanth. Waiting, actually excited about hearing from you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Shinu. Thank you everyone for joining. I know it's a Friday weekend, but we'll keep it short but effective. I'll try my best to cover these concepts that I have that we have planned for next 15 minutes on how does a cloud career would look like. What are the skills that matters to you when you're doing a real world large scale implementations, and what are those skills that are future proof, because ultimately you cannot learn every year a new skill and then you don't use that for the next 5 years and then you need to learn another skill. So we'll not rather than looking in that direction, we'll look in those directions where you learn one skill for the next 20-25 years, you are stuck with that skill. I'll also share some of my experiences of how a networking skill is right now helping me, and some common mistakes that people do in their career, zigzag jumping from one career to another career, and then they end up okay neither having that skill or this skill. And in case if you are looking for the next 12 months on upskilling, what are those things that you need to put in your mind? So numbers speaks a lot times effectively. So if you look at in the last year itself, we have seen $723 billion of investments and cloud spends that happened only in 1 year. And take top 500 companies, and if I take 9 out of 10 are on cloud already. Not only on single cloud, they are already on multi-cloud. So top 4 cloud providers, if I take AWS, Azure, GCP, and Oracle, keeping IBM and all in the next phase in Alibaba. We'll leave them later because they are good in some areas, but the generic cloud, public cloud, if we take 3 providers are top, and that's where everyone puts their hands in. And irrespective of which company you are, as long as you are using IT, you will have cloud. Now, even non-IT companies also should have a cloud. For example, let's say I'm a company who builds just bolts and nuts for aircrafts, because I'm in an airline. So even if you build bolts and nuts, even if you do manufacturing, you need IT, because you have to communicate over systems, you have to send emails, and 90% of the time today we are on cloud emails, either on Outlook, which is an Microsoft Outlook, or you are on Google Cloud Suite, or you are on Zoho. Zoho is now becoming famous in India, so let me take Zoho. Zoho is also a cloud, right? So ultimately, when we say cloud, right, it's someone's data center, not our data center sitting in our enterprise, but it is sitting somewhere else. There are different names for it on public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and all. Irrespective of that, your infrastructure is sitting somewhere else and you need to manage. When we look at the cloud career, right, typically we have segregated them into 5 stages. The first stage that many people enter is the system admin or an IT support. This is the stage 1. Typically, this stage carries a span of 0 to 3 years. There are some people who join directly as a cloud administrator, SRE, cloud specialist, but they are 100 out of 10. 90% carries through the same stages. So a typical stage is your stage 1, 0 to 3 years. You start as a system admin or an IT support or a network engineer or network support engineer or a desktop support engineer. Title can be anything. Title is given by your HR. That doesn't reflect on what you do. So my examples all would be based upon what you do rather than what title is given by your HR. So I know an individual. I know him for the last 15 years. He has grown from a information security manager till a vice president in that company, but the entire company is 500 people. Okay, small company, 500 people company, grown from an information security manager to a vice president. In their company, vice president is called as CISO, but his team is only 4 people. All these days, he does everything. Even though he's a VP, he does everything. He will troubleshoot, he will set, he will configure, but it's a 500 people company. Let's compare that with a TCS, Capgemini, which is having 200,000 people, 300,000 people, 400,000 people. A VP in a 300,000 people is entirely different from a VP in a 500 people and a CEO in three people company, right? So don't go with what is the title that HR has given you. Rather, you ask what skill, what problem I'm able to solve, and who is listening to me. That is the biggest thing that you need to look at. I'll give you an example and then we will go in that direction. So let's take one skill. Uh, Let me just put that for you. So a typical, stages would look like this. One is a system admin or an IT support engineer. The second one is the cloud engineer. Third level is the DevOps or SRE, which is typically around 4 to 8 years. Then you, around 7 to 12 years of stage, you will become a cloud architect or a specialist. And around 10 plus years, you will become that leader who will be putting the roadmaps. So let's see. Now we have a couple of audience already on the call. I want every one of you to do their self-assessment. We will be doing self-assessment for the next 2 3 minutes on where you stand, and we have to answer those questions honestly to ourselves, because if you cannot be honest to yourself, it's very tough to take a feedback and grow. So I'll just give 2 minutes. Just choose which layer you are in, which stage of your career you are in. Maybe stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. And let's understand what you do based on your stage. Let's ask this question. What do you actually do? A very, very important question. I know a person who is called as VP, but he does cloud configuration. And I know an director of system operations and cloud, and what he does. In one case, a VP does configuration. In another case, the director only designs the roadmap for the company, and the team under him does this. There is some kind of a companies, fancy titles are given. Mm, Let me name them, because these companies are around us, so you understand. There are some banks like Big Four. Take Big Four. You are a 3 years, 4 years experience. You are called as assistant managers. In 8 years, you will be called as manager. Some people reach to senior manager level also, and there are some fancy names in Big Fours like partners. Uh, I'll give you one more example. I think yesterday we have released a cybersecurity assessment bidding for a company. They are considered as a big five. Okay, no, there are big four. There is something called 5, 6, 7 also. They typically consider as big five. In this company, his title is partner. The partner is the highest level in that company. And I asked, who is going to be your team? He said, including me, there will be 5 people who will be doing this assessment. Now, why including you? You are a partner, right? But in their company, the partner does the cybersecurity assessment for a company. That's true. His title and what he does doesn't match. So you need to understand at what stage we are in. Are we going to provision the systems and automate the cloud resources? Or I'm going to be the person who is owning that provisioning process? Or am I going to design a system, that designed system is going to be used by someone else? Or I'm going to put a roadmap for the entire company, and entire company is going to use that roadmap. All of these are entirely different. They honor different requirements of the company. In early stage of anyone's career, right, the work that you do, who cares about it, matters a lot. If you are in early stages of your career, for example, I'm a system admin, what I do is I get a ticket, I take the ticket, I process the ticket, do some kind of a troubleshooting, fix it, and say I'm good. One common example that I will give you is, let's say I have an Outlook problem. My Outlook is loading slowly. I cannot see my old emails. There is a guy who will come and say, oh, there is some issue in your laptop. Maybe there is a sync issue with the Outlook Exchange. Then he goes and just does some configuration on the Exchange to increase the archivalness on my local PC. Now, this is affecting an individual user. In early stages of your career, whatever you do, it impacts a regular employee. But there is another engineer who does some kind of a platform engineering. where I build a platform. Let's say I have a lot of development teams in our company, right? Um, we were transitioning from VMware to Kubernetes in this example. When we were moving from VMware to Kubernetes, we are a multi-cloud user. We work on AWS, we work on Azure, we work on Oracle Cloud. We don't use GCP here. Now, in these three cloud, we want the same Kubernetes cluster. So Kubernetes cluster on AWS, Kubernetes cluster on Azure, Kubernetes cluster on GCP, but all of them has to talk to each other. On top of this, we need to build our applications. Now, the way Kubernetes behaves on Azure at networking level is different from AWS from GCP. But we want one way for the developer. Developer don't care about whether he is deploying it on Azure Kubernetes cluster, AWS Kubernetes cluster, or GCP Kubernetes cluster. What he want, a developer should deploy the application on Kubernetes. That's it. How it works underlying, he don't care. Who cares? The cloud guy. The cloud guy who sets up the platform for developers cares about it. Now, there are two ways of giving my cloud developers the entire platform. I tell him, hey, this is a Kubernetes manifest file or a configuration file. If you are doing on Azure, do this way. If you are doing on AWS, do this way. If you are doing on GCP, do this way. This is one way of giving the developer experience. Second way of giving is, hey, developer, don't worry about anything. Write the code in the form of a Docker, run on your computer. I'll give you some scripts. Just set up as per that on your computer, commit the code. That's it. Your application gets deployed on multi-cloud. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to worry about networking. You don't need to worry about storage. You don't need to worry about secret key management. You don't need to worry about underlying vaults, underlying networking. Don't worry about it. Underlying policies, don't worry. Just write, deploy. It will work on multi-cloud. This is where platform engineering comes into the picture. If I'm able to impact these kind of developers, I'm at a different level. Then there's a different level where, let's say, a level of me, where I take decisions for a group of 5 companies. For example, in my case, I work for Gulf Air, Bahrain Export Company, Bagjet Fuel, Gulf Holding Catering Company, and then we have a Gulf Aviation Academy. We're different types of businesses. But when I take a decision, that decision will impact all these 5 companies. And me putting a roadmap on how we have to transition from the current environment to a new environment will impact all these 5 companies. There are some skills that already some of these companies would have. There are some skills that these companies would not have. But how do I put a engineering roadmap, transformation roadmap in such a way that the developer experience is retained with the roadmap transition? That is where my challenges would come. Where, let's say, one of our companies previously used to have 2 AWS accounts. Another company used to have 3 AWS accounts. Another company has an Oracle Cloud. Another company is having GCP, because with different businesses we are operating in different countries. When I sat at a group level trying to build the roadmap for these companies, I see a roadblock of, oh, everyone is using their own CI/CD pipelines. Everyone is running their own applications. There is no standardization in the tech stack, because each of them were different companies. Now you're looking from a group. Your role is to make sure that all these 5 companies, all the infrastructure is standardized, the environments are standardized, configurations are standard, policies, procedures, and implementation processes are same. Now, for me, it's important that how do I bring in that? If I don't understand the nitty-gritties of what those engineers do, and I bring up some new process, it will break. It will be a discomfort. How do you improve that developer experience, engineers experience, by maintaining a governance at a 30,000 feet level, but making sure the developer experience is met, are some kind of a challenges that I face as a leader in our organization. And it's important for me. Let's say if I leave and I put up a roadmap for the next 3 years, transformation roadmap for infrastructure, cloud and cybersecurity, and I leave. If I What breaks is the roadmap itself will break for all these companies, because someone else after me should continue that. So if I leave, there is a lot of impact across the organization. But if a desktop engineer who is troubleshooting Outlook, he leaves the company, he will just bring impact on 3, 4 people. But if I leave, the impact is on the engineering teams. And if the platform engineer leaves, there is an impact on the developers. So what kind of impact that you bring in when you leave matters a lot. If you are able to answer these three questions honestly at your own level, that will actually reveal what kind of impact that you are bringing in the organization, what kind of a support stage you are in, what kind of influence that you can carry. I'm not worried about titles, I'm only worried about the impact that you bring in. So I'll just give 2 to 3 minutes for everyone to think of, and when we get into the Q&A session, maybe you can ask questions on these areas. Allow me a minute, please. So I hope you have mentally answered these questions on a pen and paper or mentally somewhere on your notes, or you could have thought about it. Think in this direction. So what we generally expect from different levels of engineers is like a system admin or an IT support engineer or an IT desktop engineer who just joined a company. This is where your career typically starts. The kind of skills that are expected from you are Linux, Windows, fundamentals of networking, some kind of a scripting that is expected. You have a basic understanding of virtualization, working on VMware, Hyper-V, Citrix, some kind of a backup, patching, monitoring. These are some things that are expected out of these system admin and IT support engineers. So you're just doing a firefighting job because some issue comes, you go ahead and fix it. This is a typical system administrator job of firefighting. And if you are at this stage and if you want to elevate your career to the cloud or cloud specific domains, your career transition should be going from these on-prem infrastructure to a cloud infrastructure. Pick up any cloud, AWS, Azure, GCP, and anything is fine as long as if it is supported in your organization, pick up that. Let's say if your organization doesn't have any cloud roadmap, but you still want to pick up AWS or Azure. See, ultimately, as you grow into stage number 4 and stage number 5, right? You need to learn all the clouds. There is no exception for you that, oh, I only become a master in AWS. Yeah, if you are becoming master in AWS and your company is only sitting in that cloud, maybe it will add value. But tomorrow you change your company as a senior in a senior position, and that company uses AWS and Azure and GCP combination. And you need to still learn. Ultimately, there is a learning curve for everyone. At every stage, there is a learning curve based upon what your organization needs. So if you're at stage 1 and want to go to stage 2, the career transition should be to learn one of these cloud providers. And today, every cloud provider exposes their infrastructure in the form of APIs. And those APIs are translated into infrastructure as a code. And this is a concept, by the way, there since 2014-15. I have been using it. Uh, uh, in my initial days of career, there used to be something called a chef. Terraform is now popular, Pulumi is now popular, but there were good tools. Ansible used to be doing the configuration management. So Python for automation is something important because all these cloud providers definitely expose the APIs. But now in the world of AI, we call them as MCPs because AI agents will talk to the cloud providers using the MCPs. So you can say that MCPs are like USB-C ports. If you want to connect to any of these devices, as long as you have a USB-C port, you can just go ahead and connect any charger to it. Similarly, any of these cloud providers or any of these applications on the SaaS providers, as long as they have an MCP, you can connect it with your cloud or OpenAI and get this stuff done. So learning automation is important because you are going to interact with the cloud providers. And Terraform, Pulumi, infrastructure as a code kind of skills are important if you have to initiate your career and start transitioning towards the cloud. This is a typical expectation at the stage 1. Then you have something called stage 2, cloud engineer. This is where you get your title. Oh, I'm a AWS cloud engineer. I'm a solutions architect. I'm a cloud support engineer. I'm a database engineer on cloud. I'm an application developer on cloud. Based upon the company, your title may change, but these are some of the titles that we see. So you have skills like understanding of infrastructure as a cloud, sorry, infrastructure as service, platform as a service, software as service, how compute works, how storage works, how networking works, how do you, provide access to these cloud resources using identity and access management, running the infrastructure using Terraform. If you're on if you are a multi-cloud, go for Terraform or Pulumi. If you are on Azure, you will go for ARM. If you are on AWS, you will go for CloudFormation. Fundamentals of containers, understanding how cloud costs work, because ultimately a responsibility of a cloud engineer comes with certain budgets. Not everyone in this world has unlimited budget. Doesn't matter. Based on the type of company, your budget may be, it may start from $10,000 to $100,000 or $200,000 to 2 billion. But it depends upon the company, how big your company is there. But there is always a limit. No one has an unlimited money, right? Based on the company you work, there is a budget, and you need to run your infrastructure within that budget. So that's where you will start looking in that direction. And if you're a cloud engineer who already has these skills and you want to elevate your skill to a next level, typically you will learn Kubernetes, because if you are a multi-cloud and you need to run your infrastructure seamlessly across the clouds, only Kubernetes is possible. So you will start learning Kubernetes. Now you want large scale deployments to be done. Maybe every day you want to release a new feature. Have you observed, guys? OpenClaw is an AI agent. Hermes is an AI agent. Go to Twitter of OpenClaw, and you will observe that every day in the night they release their new variant. Every day they release. Today I have a Claude. Every day I open the Claude, it will ask, please update, please update. I am using VS Code. Every day VS Code gets an update. Previously I have been using VS Code before the AI part also. Barely 2-3 months we used to get one update. Today there is an update every day. Every day I have to update my apps that are running on my computer. So that's too many releases per day, or maybe there is one release per day, which is too much, right? And are we ready to have that one release per day is a very, very important thing. I hope we are clear on that part. Just allow me 1 minute. Sorry. I hope you can see, right? Perfect. Then you have the stage number 3, where typically you are those guys who are little elite people in the world of cloud, the DevOps guys and SRE. These are the platform engineers, right? They understand the cloud end to end too good. They know exactly how to automate. They just make developers' life easy. This is what DevOps and SREs guys does. Developer focuses on development. Remaining everything is taken care by these guys, DevOps and SRE guys. These are those guys. If I have to look out for an engineer, I would look for these guys, because these guys really know their game. They already understand Kubernetes, they understand automation, they understand how to do deployments at large scale, they know how to I go at a very good speed, deployments, large scale deployments, migrating from one application to another application. They even migrate stacks in a reliable way. But what skills they lack is the security skills, because ultimately security has to come into day-to-day operations. So security integration will be their challenges. If you are a DevOps and an SRE, and if you want to transition to a better role, DevSecOps. If there are some companies who do data engineering, data SecOps, you build great applications, but one midnight the application is down and everyone is doing a firefighting. How do we do a proactive firefighting? Is by doing chaos engineering, where you randomly go ahead and delete any container, any application, backend, front end, database, just delete. Application should run. Application should not make any chaos. So that's what you look for. And platform engineering skill is a very important skill where you make developers' life easy. The moment you make developers' life easy in your company, they will start appreciating your work. And then you mentor engineers. At this stage, you start mentoring the cloud engineers. This is a stage 3 of the cloud journey. So we have stage 4. These are these architects who has good understanding of multi-cloud. They exactly know how do we run one application on multi-cloud with the most highest availability and reliability. They exactly know best practices across the frameworks. They can implement cybersecurity as a part of multi-cloud architecture. They can implement zero trust. They take care of the cost. They take care of performance. They understand the governance of it. They understand what is coming up in the future, how that roadmap might look like, and then start designing their systems around. I'll give you one example. This happened a couple of days before in my company. So we were previously, we were on Azure and AWS. Oracle was one of our companies. So when we have merged that company, we started using Oracle Cloud. Recently, we started on a GCP. Recently means around 6 months. When we started moving to GCP, some of our workloads, we thought, why do we need to move to GCP? The reason is GCP has a very good backbone internet connectivity, and some of our call centers, because we are an airline, we operate in 60 countries. So these airlines uh, work on a private connection. All our aircraft details from one airport to another airport goes on a private connection. So it's important for us to have a good backbone. And does AWS doesn't give you that? No, AWS also gives, Azure also gives, but Google has that reliable backbone on the internet network connectivity. So we said, okay, fine, we will go ahead and put MPLS connections only through that. Now that's a major change. We were already on a direct connect on AWS. Now we are trying to do a peer-to-peer connection from AWS to Azure. Azure doesn't support. The only one who supports is GCP. And we said, okay, fine, let's go ahead and incorporate GCP into this. Now we have to bring architectural change in our existing environment. Then we said, oh, who can solve this problem? In AWS, there is something called as transit gateway. We said, okay, only transit gateway can connect to multi-cloud as a VPN, as a router, and as a direct connect. But that is not available neither on Azure nor on GCP at that scale. Then we have to re-architect our systems in such a way that we leverage the power of transit gateway, which can connect to 5,000 networks in one go. We leveraged that. We had a headquarter direct connect, which is a 2 Gbps line, a dedicated line for this. And then from there, we were able to spread into multi-cloud. Then all our clouds started talking through this transit gateway. Now, this is a architectural change that we are bringing at a company level. Now, I have to be very, very good at everything in this case. I cannot say, hey, I'm good at this and I'll become a cloud architect. I'm good at Windows, I'll become a cloud architect. It will not work. A cloud architect knows Windows, Linux, networking, application deployment, CI/CD pipelines, how platform engineering teams work. They may not have, they could have come from a hands-on experience. They may not do day-to-day hands-on, but they really understand how it really works. That is something at stage 4. In stage 5, you're those governance guys who puts roadmap to the entire organization, a group of companies or a single company. You put a roadmap, put cloud migration strategies. Let's say, hey, today you can do a vibe coding very fast. In 6 to 7 months, you can build a very great application. A decent developer with good experience, basic fundamentals are good, he can build a nice application. But the challenge is the transition. For example, I'll give you one more example from my experience. We were actually thinking on Salesforce, CRM migration. We are already on Oracle. We were planning to do a Salesforce migration. Salesforce has given us 150 KBD, which is around $400,000 budget for one engineer to be with us for 1 year. That's too expensive. A Salesforce architect in our company, he will come back, he will sit in our office and do this stuff. That's a too big number to migrate from Oracle to Salesforce, only that part. We decided rather in the same price, we take two platform engineers. We are not talking about developers, two platform engineers who can write automation scripts to move the data from one to another data warehouse and link this data warehouse with a customized application that can meet our requirements. We did a budget around, and we are actually we are spilling compared to what was given to us. But that spilling will give control in the next 5 years for us. Maybe if I go with Oracle to Salesforce migration, maybe 2 years, 3 years, everything is nice. But in the long run, can I customize Salesforce as per my requirement? No. They come with their own price tag. But if it is a custom developed application, we have that control, and AI is doing good job. It is going to do wonderful job. So if it is an application under our control, if not today, tomorrow, I can hire 3, 4 extra engineers, outsource it, and get that stuff done internally. So these are some decision making at the leaders we take. So based upon at which stage you are and what stage you want to go, the number of skills, how you manage that learning curve matters a lot. At different stages, you have different learning curves and different skills to learn. So top 4 skills, irrespective of which stage you are in, that you have to learn. One is a cloud, which is fundamentals. Today, you cannot say, it's like, Nishanth, I'm a software developer, but I don't understand Windows and Linux. There's no choice. You have to understand. Similarly, if you're working in IT, there is no way that you will say, I don't know cloud. Doesn't matter whether you are a IT desktop engineer or a cloud leader, or you are an AI/ML developer, or you are a data scientist, or whether you are a system operations engineer, development engineer, you do Linux and Windows operating system management, or even you are a DBA. You have to learn cloud, and with cloud, an additional bonus of cloud security is very important, because everyone is worried about securing these cloud instances. And if you are a developer, want to move to automation, platform engineering, where you build platforms for developers, DevSecOps is very important. And then you have FinOps. Even if you are a guy who is coming from chartered accountant background, BSc, BCom, and you want to make a career in IT, but you still want to stick back to the finance, FinOps is very important. See, if I don't understand what is an EC2 instance, how will I control the cost of EC2 instance? If I don't know how Kubernetes work, how would I control the cost? I just listen to system operations and stay okay, or I listen to, or I question them on their cost. So even FinOps is an important. Even you are a non-IT guy, you can make a career over here. And then AI infrastructure, no need to talk. Everyone knows that we have to build everything on top of AI. And AI is going to be there. AI is being infused everywhere, from desktop support till taking decisions. AI is always there, is going to be incorporated. So these 4 skills plays a very important role. Cloud security, DevSecOps. Doesn't matter which certification you start with, but what skill you learn, what skill you gain is more important. So typical skills that you look for a DevSecOps engineer is a good automation skill. Python is something that non-negotiable. You cannot say that I don't know Python. There's no negotiation on it. If you're a cloud engineer, Python should be in your fingertips. Today, no need to understand Python in deep. As long as you have that basic common sense and you know exactly what is your goal, AI will write the thing. Previously, around 10 to 12 years back, when I used to give interviews, I used to ask, what kind of automation you have done on Linux, to what kind of many common answers would be, I have done backup automation, I have written cron jobs which will actually run and take this, I know how to restore the backups using automation, I know how to reset the passwords, I know how to do patching using Python. These were all automation scripts that were expected 15 years ago. But today, anyone can write a backup script. Just 2 minutes, say, this is the file, this is the schedule. From this file. This is the username password. This is the destination username password. Into this folder, write me a script. It will write the script for you. I don't need a Python expert in that because I just need fundamental understanding, right? So that it is transitioning. How good you are able to integrate multiple technologies into one, multiple areas, mainly like cloud infrastructure, cybersecurity, application development, and AI usage into one go is what expected in cloud security and DevSecOps kind of a roles. And then, no, Nishant, I'm on being very specific on a, in cybersecurity world, I'm being very defensive and offensive. Two types of security will be there. Defensive are those people who protect. Offensive is those people who try to break. Even there is a career path for them. See, in the world of legacy infrastructure, right? Windows doesn't have an API. Because Windows does not have an API, you cannot just call it with some automation and then see. That's why we used to run scripts, PowerShell scripts, to do auditing of Windows. That has changed now. Today, every cloud provider is having a API, and this API can be used to interact within the system. And we are even slowly moving out from VM world to the containers world. In the world of containers, everything is programmatic. That means even if you do cybersecurity, you will be writing a piece of code for cybersecurity. And in the FinOps areas, even FinOps also needs Python skills. Let's say tomorrow you're analyzing an invoice. Let's say, I'll give you an example in my company. I'm sitting at a group level. I had 5 companies. In one of those companies, we have given a budget for a research because they want to do AI research and all. We allocated some budget. Now, when we allocated that budget, that's a 40,000 BD, which is around 120K USD, is allocated for research. Now, this is allocated for research. They are just supposed to play around and all. And there is another business unit, another 150K was allocated to them for a project. Now they come back after 7 to 8 months and say that, oh, we consumed all our budget. This is a budget allocated for 1 year, and they come in 7th month and 8th month says that, oh, we consumed all the budget. Now, someone at governance has to look at why that budget was consumed. This was pre-allocated, and obviously we keep a 20% buffer for any spill-offs. But why did you consume that much? What was the reason? If a finance guy who has to question doesn't understand technology, he will not be able to question on where the consumption happened. And obviously technical engineers will start hiding things because they know that finance guys don't understand. But FinOps is one domain where you understand technology, you start helping the company to bring the cost control. Because everyone is spending money today on cloud. And cloud is something where if you forget, you will get a bill. That's it, simple. There were days, even after all the skills, I forget shutting down some servers, I end up paying $300, $400, sometimes $1,000 doing nothing. I just kept it there and it's running and I forgot. And then an AI infrastructure, again, AI is everywhere. There is no way to tell that, oh, I will come out of it. You can use AI to automate stuff on cloud itself. Even cloud security automation can be done with AI. And one other skill is everyone should learn how to run AI infrastructure. Main thing is, let's say today we have EC2 instance, a virtual machine that is sitting on an AWS cloud. And one of our developers said that, hey, we developed a nice agent. This needs a CPU. We have given a CPU based EC2 instance and VM. Tomorrow, he says that, hey, now the POC is completed. Our management is asking, let's move this to production. We move to the production on a CPU based thing, and then because number of users started increasing, the system is becoming slow. AI agent is responding slowly. Now you'll say, oh, why agent is responding? Because it's working on CPU, not on GPU. Oh, you never accounted for this. Now, if I go ahead and change the architecture, application code may fail because application code was written to interact with CPU. Now I need a GPU. If this could have been taught well by these group of engineers, I will avoid a lot of gaps. So that's why a cloud engineer should also understand what is required for AI. What kind of AI workloads run on those clouds which can help my organization. So it's a very different way of looking at it. So that's why you need to understand AI, how it works, what kind of infrastructure is necessary for it, and then start building uh, resources for that. So that's from the future skills that typically we will learn. We will go a little more deep in the Q&A to be very specific, but I'm being very generic here. Then a few career mistakes that people do is that collecting a lot of certificates. I'll give my own example, right? Go to internet, search about me and my certifications. I have 50 plus certifications, 50 plus. In the last 3 years, I did not renew a single certificate, except my CISA system, which are very important as a governance guy to really demonstrate my authority. I kept them, but other certificates I just did not even renew. I was also in that mood a couple of years that having a certificate means people will appreciate it. Yes, people will appreciate your certificate, but when they talk to you, the real skill is coming out. You go and put your resume with 50 certifications, and if you cannot answer basic questions, there's no value for it. And many people get certificate because today getting certificates are very easy. Just go, there were some certificates where I have asked Claude to write. I took my browser control and then it has written some certifications because I just want to test how it works. So it worked. So what I would prefer is projects. It can be as small as you doing a vibe coding of an application, a front end, back end, middleware, catching a database, just deploy it. That itself is a very good learning curve if you are coming from that background. Nishanth, I want to become a multi-cloud expert. Before becoming a multi-cloud expert, become a polyglot expert. Polyglot expert means you can deploy an application which is written in 5 different programming languages. How? My front end is written in React. Sorry. My front end is written in React. I have 3 services in the backend. This front end serves a lot of analytics. Analytics backend is written in Python. It is serving authentication and authorization, which is written in .NET. Then I have a Node.js, which is actually doing day-to-day data pulling operations. 3 different languages and front end, totally 4 different languages. Then I have Redis. Then I have 3 databases, MongoDB for something else, MySQL for something else, and maybe I have a time series database. Try to deploy this multi-tech application in one environment. That itself is a good project. And then take the same code base, you deployed on single cloud. Now take 2 cloud providers, deploy Kubernetes. On top of this, deploy the same application. That itself is a big project. There are so many companies who are only looking for this skill. Because this skill, it's easy to talk, but when you start doing it, that's where the nitty-gritties come in. So always the details are in the devils. When you start working only, you will know. Yeah. So there are so many people who are comfortable. I'll give you an example. There was a desktop engineer in my company. Okay. He had 2 options: to be in the IT as a part-time contractor and to be in a different department as a full-time employee. He chose full-time employment in a different department rather than a contractor. I'm just giving a very specific example. This may not happen to everyone, but just worth understanding. He joined facility management team with a full-time salary. Now understand, he joined facility management team, full-time employee. He needs that at that moment, but the number of choices in front of him are stuck. He cannot take more choices because his career path has stuck there. He cannot come out of it. Maybe down the line, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, he will be in the same zone. He cannot come out of it. But in IT, if not today, you learn some other skill and then you grow. That's an entirely different business. This is an entirely different way of looking at it, but that's how it is. Yeah. And few things that, always people think that, oh, security is not job. I'm an application developer. Why should I take care of security? If you want to become an automation engineer and expert, move from application development. See, there's so many people who ask me that, Nishant, I'm a developer. I have good experience in last 15 years developing full stack applications, but I want to make my career in cybersecurity. The simplest way is you already know SDLC. Just add security to it and become an secure SDLC expert. You already know how to do functional modeling. Learn threats and do threat modeling. So it's a very simple transition. You don't need to learn heavy skills. You don't need to deviate from what you have already done. Sometimes it's very important to use your existing skill and top up with it and make a career change. You are good at SDLC, just add security to it at each layer of development, then it will become secure SDLC. You start selling yourself like that. Maybe you are a very good DevOps engineer. Okay, start adding security in each layer of your CI/CD operations. Then you will become a DevSecOps engineer. You are an automation engineer. Start helping developers so that developers don't have problems. Then you will become a platform engineer. So there are easy ways to transition. It is just that, are you ready to take that one extra step, two extra step, three extra steps to move from that specific career path to a different path? That's why it's very important to ask a couple of questions yourself. As an engineer who want to transition from one domain to another domain or one area to another area, how much I need to put. Some people will ask, can I put 2 months, 3 months time and then move it? Yes, you can absolutely do that. Or do I need 3 years, 4 years time? No, 3 years, 4 years time is not a time that we take today. Today, everything should happen in 6 months. People are expecting that. I know that's an aggressive ask, but that's how the industry is. So ask a couple of questions. Out of all the stages that I have shown, at which stage I am in? If I'm in stage one, what's your target? If I'm stage two, what's my target? If I'm in stage three, what's my target? If you are already at stage five, I think you have more maturity. So I don't need to tell you what should be your target, because you have already reached to that stage maturity level that you don't need guidance. But if you are in the lower stages, you already know what should be your target, what you have to plan for it. Start with one foundational certificate, because certificate will give you resume weightage, but it only gives you weightage to your resume, not in the interview, because interview he will grill you. The interviewer will grill you based on your certificate. And then, how many projects do I ship? There is a very good theoretical understanding is different from a practical understanding. See, if you have to demonstrate a skill that I did it, even though you do a small experiment on your computer, if you are able to translate that into an enterprise, that's a quick win in your interview. Yeah, because you have done the practicals. Just demonstrate, this is what I have done, but just don't say I have done it in on my laptop, but I have done it on my enterprise. And if you're able to convince the interview, that's a quick win, right? Yeah. Once you become that generalist, you have to become a specialist, because it doesn't matter what domain you come from. You need to have one skill very, very good. I'm Sometimes I'm proud that I worked in Juniper. I exactly know how a TCP flag is set in the packet. If you take a TCP packet, I exactly know which byte and which bit is for what, because I'm coming from networking background. So um, I'll tell you why that was important. Again, we are an airline. We have call center. We have call center across 60 countries. We are on headquarters in Bahrain. Our network engineering team came and said that, hey, we need to optimize, because I'm sitting in the governance level, so I have to authorize every implementation. So they came, said that, hey, our quality of service is very bad. The network engineers start talking some technical terms. I said, is our Barracuda is really doing a QoS correctly? How did you verify? He said, no, we have enabled it. You have enabled it, but did you look at the packet and see whether the QoS is getting modified? Said, no, no need because it is enabled. Enabling is different. Going back and validating is different. And a governance guy is telling a network architect to do this. So that's a lot more different, right? But later we realized that the rule is bypassed. That rule is not, QoS rule is not applied on that traffic, and that's why jittering is happening in the calls. So one depth skill is very important to really counter uh, uh, your authority. And then obviously when you go to market, a good CV, cracking the interview, all these things are important. I'm not focusing on that, but question 1, question 2, question 3 are some things that you need to ask. uh, with that, what I'll do, that's from my side. Anyway, I'll keep the platform open for questions. Before that, maybe we can take some questions, and then I'll hand it over to Dr. Shinu on how Reva can help you to bridge that gap.
Thanks, Nishant. There are multiple questions here. One is how do we learn multi-cloud services? If I am comfortable with AWS cloud provider, should I go to Azure or GCP? How do we decide which cloud to choose based on market trends?
I think, as I said, at the end of the day, when you become a leader, down the line 4 years, you have to learn all the clouds. Today, you will start with GCP, AWS plus GCP combination. Tomorrow, after 3 years, you will learn AWS plus GCP plus Azure combination. Choose anything, that doesn't matter. If your cloud, if your company is already having a cloud plan, multi-cloud strategy, pick up that cloud which is there in your company. If your company says, no, we don't have a multi-cloud strategy, I'm only on Azure, we are only on AWS, pick up the next top provider where there are more jobs. So you can, bridge that gap and show. Let's say, obviously, there are 3 cloud providers that you will get jobs in India for sure: AWS, Azure, and GCP. Any combination will give you a job in any company.
So there is another question which is coming from Q&A that for a development engineer, that means assuming software engineer, is it? What
Yeah.
cloud career path can one aspire?
So if you're a development engineer, let's say you're a full stack developer. As a full stack developer, what is expected from you? That you are able to develop a front end, a back end, a middleware with caching, and a scalable database. This is expected from you as a full stack developer. Now, have you ever tried to deploy same application on each cloud differently, and front end is sitting on 3 clouds, back end is sitting on 3 clouds, middleware is sitting on 3 clouds, and database is sitting in 3 clouds? Can we build a very small application internally to ourselves, because you're already a full stack developer? Why don't you deploy them on all the 3 cloud providers and independently and together? That itself will give you, okay, where is my skill lacking? Okay, am I good in AWS? Why am I unable to deploy it on AWS? Now, what are the strategies that I need to use? What are the technologies that I need to learn so that I will do a seamless deployment across multi-cloud? Is the kind of questions, if we ask, automatically I think that will put the path for you. Even this project of take a Kubernetes cluster, deploy it on all the 3 clouds, integrate them together, and deploy your application on multi-cloud. That itself is a very good project for you to kickstart your cloud journey.
Perfect. The next question is, when we modernize the legacy systems during cloud migration, can we do it with simple lift and shift?
See, lift and shift is not always the right solution, right? Sometimes you may have to refactor. I'll give an example. We had Oracle EBS. Oracle EBS is a very big fat animal. It's an ERP. Oracle EBS has multiple modules. Our procurement team came to us and said that, hey, IT team, go ahead and change this process because BTB, our tender board, has changed the process of tendering. Go ahead and change. Okay, I cannot come out of that ecosystem, so I have to go back and change it. Okay, so you know that, as Bahrain, we have been in a war a couple of months ago, and we exactly need to know which employee is sitting on which desk, because in case of an evacuation, we need to kick out. all of them, right? So what we did, we built a very small application, a vibe coded an application, and given it to every employee who is coming in, and deployed it on all their mobiles, Android app and iOS app, to exactly know where they are. Okay, in which part of the company they are sitting, because we are a big organization. We have airport, airlines, and we have 6 offices. So each of them are sitting in different places. We want to know, HR want to know exactly where they are sitting. We never had that app before because it was never required. And which floor they are sitting. And then we started installing few wireless. Sometimes lift and shift works. Sometimes building a new application works. Today, vibe coding a new application is easier than going back and modifying a .NET 4 application. If I put same effort in .NET 4 and migrate, and if I vibe code on a latest technology, which is easier? Obviously, vibe coding is easier if it is not complex. But if it is a very complex integration, obviously we really don't recommend going for a vibe coded application. Rather, you go for a migration. So it's a very, what is best depends upon your organization, how much time you have, how much money and effort that your team is ready to spend, your management is ready to spend. So that differs.
Okay, interesting question. Is virtualization going to be obsolete?
No, but you don't worry about it. For example, today, when we are running on cloud, we don't care about hardware. That doesn't mean hardware is not there. Hardware is someone's problem. Very similarly, tomorrow virtualization will become someone's problem, not my problem. Now, whose problem is that? The people who are working in AWS data center, the people who are working in Azure data center, the people who are working in GCP data centers. But if you are the person who is working in GCP, AWS, and Azure data center, then you have to stick with virtualization for next 20, 30, 40 years. So where are you sitting? Are you sitting in data center? Are you a person who is sitting in a company helping to develop applications or infrastructure? That's where it matters. So because I don't know what background you're coming from, so cannot tell you whether it is absolute or not.
So Cabin asked, he has an AWS practitioner certification. Now, do I need to do more to get interviews for cloud related roles?
You need to do more projects. See,
Yes.
today you can go ahead and write simple Terraform scripts on cloud and then just get done. I'll tell you, right? Today, take plural site. You will pay $40, $50. See, if you have to make a career, somewhere investment has to be done, right? You go to Udemy, you pay $20, $30, $40. You go to any of these code cloud or any of these providers, you will get it. You will get a lab environment for $10, $20, $30. Go ahead and build, convert that into a project and put it in your resume. Convert that code and put it in a GitHub. Write a nice README. You don't need to write it. AI will write for you. But as long as you are in a position to explain when an interviewer asks, that should be a good win. Then a certification. Certification will definitely add value, but the real-time projects will help. And that is what actually we do at Reva, right?
Yeah. I think Harsh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So what happened is one of my mentee, when she started the project, real-time project, we never thought that we will apply for a patent. By the end of her MTech, she was able to complete 2 projects in the same domain, complete a research paper, and convert that into a patent and applied for patent. Look at the transition, right? Where a project idea is converted into a patent because the ecosystem is supporting her. Now, what is that ecosystem which is supporting her? Coming up with a good idea, a mentor is there, who is coming from industry, then converting her idea into a small app, which is demonstratable, was done in project 1. Adding a feature to that that's done in project 2. Writing a thesis around it was helped in the masters to convert her idea into a concrete paper. And then that paper became a foundation for her patent application. And now, if I'm outside Reva, maybe I will not get that opportunity because there is no one who knows how to apply for a patent for a research paper. So it is important that you have that good ecosystem around you. It's always important, no? If you want to become rich, behave like a rich person. Don't behave like a poor person. If you want to elevate your stature, behave like that. I always have this example. See, again, no criticism to anyone on how they go to office. I know people who go on slip-ons. Even there were days I went to my office with bathroom chappal. That Paragon and all Bata chappal. I used to wear chappal and go to office. And there were days where I go on full suit every day. Literally every day I go in a full suit. It differs, how you want to behave that, right? So sometimes people around you matters a lot, and with whom you are also matters a lot. If you are in the world of learning, right, you need to compete with people who are better than you, not with someone who is less than you. There's always a people at different levels that you will find in your career. So if you want to grow, compete with someone who has done that job, who has done that job multiple times. Stay with them so that you will incorporate that learning from them. And there are people who always just nag, oh, that is not there, this is not there, that is not there, company is not supporting. Okay, you will be like that only. But there are people who will say, okay, company is not supporting, that's fine. Let me take one step ahead and then do something which is not my comfortable. Let me give you a thing, right? I was doing my masters. Okay. By the way, when I did my masters, I had 1 lakh job. I was earning 1 lakh per month when I did my masters, and that was my fourth on-site. I was in Algeria. That was my fourth on-site when I did my MTech from BITS Pilani. Uh, when I started my first semester, I was in India. Then I got an on-site in the first semester itself. So I went back to Algeria, and I need to come for semester exams. I had two options. I just dropped MTech because I'm already earning good amount, or I spent 80,000 rupees, travel from Algeria to Dubai because Dubai was nearest. Again, it was an extra cost for me to come from Dubai to India and then attempt. So Dubai Bits Pilani, we can actually schedule. That was one of the luxury that I had at Bits Pilani, where I scheduled an exam center in Bits Pilani, Dubai. I traveled from Algeria to Dubai, attempted my MTech exams, completed it, and went back. It was a pain. I spent a lot more money in traveling than my entire MTech fee. That's completed. Then I moved from Algeria to Singapore. No one asked whether you have a MTech or not, because already I was an architect back then. Then I moved to Middle East, currently Bahrain. When I moved to Middle East expects master's degree from a senior individual. That's a minimum common thing that they expect. If you are hiring for a senior positions, they expect a master's degree that you should have minimum. Understand, a master's degree that I did for doing it today, it helped me in untapping that one tick mark in my senior journey. So if I never had that, and if I have never spent that amount to complete my MTech, when I had this opportunity in Bahrain, that tick mark could have been questioned, and then maybe it could have, I don't know whether it will lose my employment or not, but it has given me edge. So now I feel grateful that I have did that effort back then in 2015, 14. So that's the way you look at things has to entirely change for you to come out of that comfort zone. Maybe not today, tomorrow it will help you, because MTech kind of degrees are, they're just a lifetime. They're with you. Not like certifications, right? If someone already could have search for Nishanth Credly account, you will see 50 certifications that I have that are active. And you will see some of them are not active, but my MTech is my MTech. It's always with me. So it's the ecosystem, people around you, that matters a lot for you to grow together.
Thank you so much, Nishant. I will just, I know it is 7:40. Thanks for staying back, and we are hoping that it was a great eye opener for including me, right? How Nishant look at his investments in learning and leveraging it maybe many years after, right? So I'll just take a quick minute to share my screen and then continue from where, Nishant has just stopped. So to bring it back, we are Reva University, a beautiful campus in North Bangalore, India, because Nishant is addressing us from Bahrain. It's a beautiful campus, and we have a division called Reva Academy for Corporate Excellence, right? This is what we represent. We are here to help you. Help you to transition. Now, what Nishant has mentioned is a combination, right? You need real certifications, you need projects, you need the right ecosystem to help you fast track that journey. That's what we bring in. There is some lag here. So we have multiple programs for working professionals, but today we would only speak about the cloud architecture and security, which is our master's program, where Nishant and 50 plus beautiful industry mentors who shares their decades of experience like this in a full-fledged 2-year program. So you can imagine the kind of the upliftment you will get in terms of mindset, skill set, tool set, certification set, right? Your projects and your final resume. We are talking about that ecosystem. So we'll just my system is okay. 1 second. Yeah. So this is a 2-year master's program. Weekend only. That means on Saturdays we have sessions, and many of our participants have actually transitioned. And as Nishant mentioned that at least 2 or 3 clouds you must be good, right? Maybe third, fourth, fifth, I think based on where you're working you can pick it up. So we are a partner of AWS Academy and Azure, so it is inbuilt into our program. And if you see this program, you would see that whatever that Nishant has told, or some of you will take years to build, we have packed everything in about 1.5 years, right? So you start from network, even if you don't have that background, and then do some of these automations from the infrastructure perspective. You must know how to run your applications workload. What he mentioned about automating the workload in CI/CD pipeline to Azure Track. So Azure Track is fundamentals, administration, security, all that is inbuilt into an Azure Track. So 3 certifications there. AWS Track is also there. That means certified SysOps administrator, moving to solution architect. So you could imagine the kind of confidence that you will have, because you have now certifications into not just 2 cloud, but not just one each, but almost 5 across these 2 cloud. Plus, you also can set up your own private cloud. How do we do that, right? And as he mentioned about Kubernetes-based systems, multi-cloud orchestration. How do we do that? So we have containers and orchestration system, DevSecOps and secure SDLC. So we have put security inside cloud. That's why the program is called Cloud Architecture and Security. And of course, you can see he prides himself saying that I am an AI governance person. That means the enterprise level view on, not just on compliance, but overall management of your infrastructure, your applications deployment across some 360-degree view, including the risk and the compliance and privacy is also being taught. Now, all these things are labs, right? We don't do anything theory here. And hybrid cloud deployment. Somebody asked, can we just lift and shift? But there are complexities, because each application's tech stacks, or are we standardizing, as Nishant said, then these are all becomes easy, but that is not how companies have built their legacy systems, right? So what are the challenges? Can we actually do a migration project during the session? This is what we do. And as Nishant mentioned, these projects are the best way to get your interviews, because if you put your project, you have a git repository of your project, you have a paper associated with it, you have a patent associated with it, all these things, you can imagine how your resume would look like in about 1.5 years compared to those who don't have, right? So this masters we have very, very specifically curated, taking cues and help from all those mentors, like Nishanth, who has been helping us to understand where the market is growing, right? Where the marketing, because after your degree, you must get the right job or right, not just job. We are not looking at job create just jobs. We are looking at a long-term career. Like we started off with a conversation that can I look at this 50 minutes talk and build my next 5 years, next 10 years? That is our intent. Education must change you, education must transition you, and these kinds of programs run by the industry, by the best of the tooling and the ecosystem, with the right set of peers as your colleagues in the class, is what we would look at, right? So, and our programs have been very highly ranked because we believe in ROI. Whatever that you are investing, at least double of that you must earn in your first transition, and from then on you are in control, right? So we get awards for those kinds of effort that which we put in. And yeah, so we what as a last call, I want to really thank Nishant went off from the screen. Nishant, you have been brilliant. I think it's because of the vast experience and the risk you have taken. I don't think it is risk. Those who are not taking such decisions are more riskier than those who take decisions like Nishant and control the risk, right? He is able to anticipate these risks that today if I don't upskill and don't do these the topics and start doing projects, that is more bigger risk than actually taking that step and doing that thing. And look at the passion, look at the way that look at the way that he is blossoming into a not just a professional. He is now thinking about enterprise level actions, enterprise level impact. What joy for an engineer than telling that I run the Bahrain airport system, right? This is an amazing thing. This is what we are all, our potential is. And as 50 certificates, if somebody has done that, you can imagine the sacrifices that Nishant has done, right? He has spent his weekends, he has spent his, maybe keeping his family intact and ensuring that everything is, but he decided that learning is the only way. If he is ambitious, if he is career oriented, you have to take these decisions. And we promise that we can fast track your journey, we can give you the best mentors, best ecosystems, and we are there with you at every step in your struggle, right? So with that, so thankful to Nishant for taking us through the breadth and depth of not just cloud. I think how about life is, right? Life is this. Life is facing challenges and solving them, and maybe grand challenges, right? Let us look at grand challenges, don't small challenges, and keep becoming a weeping and creeping babies. No, let us take the life on full swing and look at how we can solve bigger problems for people around organizations, and in that process you also get rewarded internally as well as financially, right? Because that's what we are born for. So amazing. I know people are dropping, but 7:40, almost 7:50, we have crossed almost 20 minutes. But we are truly thankful for each of you to connect. We have put some links there, and our people are around. Please do connect with us to know more. And we have a new batch starting in September. So this is the right time for you to take that decision which you have not been taking. And if you take that decision, I'm sure you will thank yourself maybe many years later, like Nishant just mentioned. Or otherwise, years will pass by and you will regret the decisions that you would have taken when you had the opportunity, right? So, with that thought, keep learning, keep stay alert, stay on the edge, because that is the thrill of life, right? So, with that, thank you so much, Nishant. It's been a pleasure and
Thank you,
honor
Archana.
to listen to you, and looking forward to welcome you when you come to Bangalore. Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Thanks for our
Take care.
team also who is supporting from behind. Thank you. Thank you.